Hello everyone, this is Professor Robert Solis. Welcome to our next video lesson. We're still talking about pointers, but what I want to do in this particular case is show you how to send a pointer to a function, because ultimately that's what makes us programmers powerful. We create functions, and functions do some chunk of code. It'd be nice to be able to receive a pointer and then work with that. So let me go ahead and create a C++ program. I'm calling it CS232 Pointers Part 3. I'm going to need to create a C++ source file. So I'll just go over here to Source Files, right-click, Add a New Item. Here's a C++ file. It's called source.cpp. That's fine. And let me go ahead and start off with the boilerplate stuff. So include IOStream. I'm also going to have you include the string library using namespace std. Let's go ahead and create our main function. Open and close curly braces. We're going to say system pause and then return 0. Let's go back over here. Actually, go ahead and press enter a couple of times before your main function, and let's go ahead and create some function prototypes. The first one will be a void function called myPassByValue function. As a parameter, you send it a string parameter. So a very simple function. It receives a string, it returns nothing. Let's do the same thing, but slightly different. Once again, this is a void function. I'm going to call it myPassByReference function. Now, as a parameter, what am I going to send to you? A pointer. The name of that pointer in this function is going to be called string pointer parameter. So number one, that's how you send a pointer to a function. You just simply include the asterisk, and it's going to send the pointer, which you know contains an address. All right, let me copy and paste these two prototype lines, and underneath the main function, I'm going to hit paste. I got to get rid of those semicolons and replace them with open and close curly braces. So I'll do that over here, and I'll also do that over here. Let's deal with the simple one first, this simple function. Okay, you sent to me string parameter, and for experimental purposes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that string parameter and I'm going to assign to that the string Jackson. Over here, for myPassByReference function, the string or the pointer, string pointer parameter, I'm going to assign to it Joshua. Okay, now remember, if you're passing by value, and if I modify that, whatever it is that you gave to me, because you passed by value, this is analogous to this. I have a Frisbee. I just wrote the number 10 on that Frisbee. I'm about to toss you the Frisbee, but before I toss it to you, I'm going to make a clone of it. So, bam! Now, in one hand, I'm holding the clone, and the other hand, I'm holding the original. I just tossed the original to you, which has the number 10. And I'm asking you with a Sharpie to add another 0 to it. You add a 0 to the Frisbee that I just sent to you, and now yours is 100. How about the one that I'm holding in my hand? What is that one? 10. So when I send you a Frisbee, however you modify it, does it really matter? Are you having any effect with the Frisbee that I'm holding in my hand? No, you are not, because I'm passing you a copy while I retain the original. So isn't it interesting that I'm changing this to Jackson? Is that going to affect anything? Well, I mean, it'll affect this local string called string parameter, but am I affecting anything from the main function when I called it? No. I sent you a copy, I kept the original. Is that the same type of behavior that happens over here? So let's investigate, let's find out. So we'll go back over here to the main function, and I'll say declarations. I'm going to create a variable called name, and I'll assign it the name Robert. Now, I'm going to call a function called myPassByReference function. I'm going to give you what? Okay, so let's stop right here. Let's see if you guys understand what's happening here. What does this function require? First of all, it requires a pointer. And a pointer contains what? Oh, an address. So don't I have to put this? Does that make sense? A pointer contains what? An address. So you better start off with this. The address of, and then whatever I want. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to give you the address of name. Name contains a string. In order for me to call you properly, I had better send you what you want. And what do you want? Well, first of all, here is a pointer. A pointer contains an address, so I'm going to give you the address of, in this case, name. All right, now I'll see out whatever name is. After this function call, I'm going to send out whatever name is. And so the question is, what's going to be sent out? What's going to be displayed? Is Robert going to be displayed? Is Joshua going to be displayed? What's going to be displayed? Let's see what happens. And then after this, I'll call myPassByValue function, and I will also send to it name. Now, I only send it name here because in this case it's not expecting an address of. It's not a pointer. It's just a variable here, a string variable. So I'm just going to give you name. And then in the same fashion, see out whatever name is. Okay? Save your work. Okay, I'm going to stop the program here so I can investigate what's going on. You run the program. Okay, here we go. So name, as you could see, is Robert. Perfect. By the way, the address of name is hexadecimal 00FAFBA0. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this function. I'm going to give you the address of name. Oh, I've got that. So what I'm sending you is 00FAFBA0. So let me go into this function. So I have to click this guy, step into. Okay, so here we are. What do you contain? You contain that address that I just mentioned. Oh, and by the way, what is the contents of that address location? The word Robert. Okay. Now watch this. What am I about to do at this statement? Okay, this thing contains the address. You know that that's the address of name. By the way, what am I calling it over here? String pointer parameter. So remember I told you that analogy of when I go home, my son calls me daddy, my wife calls me honey. Are they both pointing to the same thing? Yeah. So watch what happens here. Here I change the contents of this to Joshua. So I go back over here. I just called that function. Notice what name is. Joshua. Because we changed the contents of the address that we were pointing to. So it was Robert. Now it's Joshua. Okay. So if I go to the output, there it is, Joshua. All right, now let's call the other function. Now this is just a standard function that receives a string. In this case, it's going to receive name, which I have just renamed as a result of that other function call, to Joshua. So I'm going to step into here. Okay, whoops, sorry. Let me step out of that. Step out of this. Here we go. And let me step into here. Here we go. Now I'm giving you the string Joshua. All right. I am going to change that string parameter to Jackson. So now you can see the string parameter is Jackson. The question is, have I changed name back in my main function? And the answer would be no. This is analogous to me having a Frisbee with a number 10 on it, cloning it, sending you a copy. You changed the copy, but I still have the original. I've just changed the copy, but I have not changed the original. So watch what happens when I jump out of this. I go over here. What is name? Name is still Joshua. But wait a minute, you say, Professor Solis, you just changed it to Jackson. Yeah, locally. Locally in here, you changed it to Jackson. But we didn't have an effect on the name, which has a pointer pointing to it, which contains a certain value. So over here, the name is still Joshua. And then I finish the program. All right, so this is really cool because when you want to affect the original and you want the function to affect the original, then you can do this. You can create a function that receives a pointer. You know that that means you're going to send me an address of. And so that's exactly what I did. By sending you the address of name, which already contained the word Robert, what I'm saying is modify me. It's like I took my birth certificate and gave it to you, and you scribbled on it. Your name is no longer Robert. Your name is something else, whatever you happen to write in. I'm giving you that permission because I gave you my address location. Well, guess what? I'm going to take that address location, and I'm going to change its contents of whatever the thing is that I'm pointing to or whatever the thing is that I'm referencing to. That's different from this. Here I am sending you name, but I'm retaining the original, and I'm giving you a copy. Well, who cares what you do to the copy? I still have the original. And the original has been modified over here, so that's why Joshua gets displayed again. So now you know how to create functions that can receive as parameters pointers. Just remember that when you send that data to this function, you have to use this ampersand, which is the address of operator, because that's what pointers contain. Pointers contain addresses, so you have to send the address of something. And that's it. So this is Professor Robert Solis. I hope this video lesson was helpful. Have a good day. See you next time.